This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to and Beyond Pinder Private Game Reserve. We are going to start today's drive with a herd of wildebeest, zebra and impala. But enjoy your very own live safari. Right, welcome back. My name is Clive. You'll see me in a second. And behind the camera we have Marcel this afternoon. And as I said, we have started off our safari coming out to these grasslands and found a big herd of wildebeest, some zebra and a few impala. So these wildebeest were actually all standing up when we first got here. And I think now they've obviously been feeding for a little while, and I think they've just laid down to ruminate, to re-chew all their food. Remember, the first 45 minutes is for the kids' questions, so please remember to send through your questions, any questions you have, to kidquestions@wildearth.tv. This is a really perfect spot for these wildebeest to be. They've got plenty grass in this kind of open savanna area that we are in here. And that's exactly the same reason the zebra is here too. Seems like it's just one zebra though. I'm guessing it's probably a male who just doesn't have a group of females with him at the moment. Compared to the group of wildebeest where there's one male and lots of females and probably a few young in there as well. Yeah, like a little late lunch gathering. But the wind is also picking up this afternoon, and you can imagine how these animals aren't able to hear as well when the wind is picked up. And they don't want to come across any lions or anything like that out here. Oh, there's also some impala running into the screen straight ahead of us here. Can see a little group of impala there. And actually, as soon as we arrived, there were some warthogs as well, but I think they have disappeared now. Oh, Jack, I love your question. Isn't it rude that the wildebeest are all lying down and eating? So they're not actually eating right now. They're not. They've already eaten. They've walked around here and fed on grass while they've been around here. And now what they're doing, it's called ruminating. So they're actually like bringing up half-chewed food back into their mouth, and they are chewing it again. It's just how their stomach works, and it's just what they're doing. But look at this beautiful little procession of impala coming across here. It's like single file, all walking in the same direction. It's really cool. You can see there's a couple of young ones included in there as well, like lots of the big adult females, and then a couple that are a little bit smaller. That is so nice. Now keep a lookout in this little herd for one male. Let's see if we can find him. He'll have big curly horns on top of his head. Let's see if we can find him. He'll either be right at the front or at the back. Probably at the back, actually. I see him. He's going to come out by that dead tree there, Marcel. There we go. Look at that. There's the big male. Look at his horns on top of his head. So he's in charge of this whole group. he's in charge of this whole group of females, and even some of these young... No, sorry, they won't be his, but yeah, it's really nice to see so many, isn't it? Well, we are going to carry on with our drive, but for now we're going to send you across to TAYLA in Pridelands, who's going to say good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, because Clive told me to say that. My name is MCCURDY, and on camera with me today is Kat. And yes, we are driving around in Pridelands, the land of the elephants, which is what I'm going to show you in just a moment. I just want to see if the rest of the herd is around. Actually, you know, we shall start right here, just because we can see one elephant. But I can't wait to hear all of the questions from all of the kids all over the world, so please remember to send them on in. Excuse me, sorry, I've got a little bit of a tickle in my throat this afternoon. But there we go, we have one elephant feeding away. It looks like I've stumbled across the boys this afternoon that I think were socializing with a breeding herd that we watched this morning. But we shall see as they slowly walk down the path. He's actually on a big animal pathway at the moment, which comes right to my vehicle, so I may have to move the car because the animals have the right of way here. But there are some big boys amongst these younger bulls. I know, we might not have to. It seems like he's going to wander off the pathway on his own to feed. And just elephants doing what elephants do best. Constantly eating. I know Kat wants me to move forward, eh? Yeah. I'll show you now why he wants me to move forward. Is because hopefully this elephant doesn't mind us too much. He's just feeding up on a very tall tree. There we go. Look at this fella. How he stretches on up. So it looks like he's feeding on a boerbean tree. A weeping boerbean. Oh, I said that in a weird accent. Weeping boerbean. You see, Afrikaans is this interesting language where you have to roll your R's and there's lots of Ch's, and I'm not particularly good at doing that. And that's what this elephant is feeding up on it. Look at those nice tasty green leaves. Now this tree isn't just a firm favorite of the elephants in the sort of end of the dry season. So between September, October, November, the tree gets beautiful flowers on it, but really, really pretty flowers. And the tree turns bright red. And they're so full of nectar that you won't just find the elephants feeding on the leaves, but you might also find lots of birds and monkeys and all sorts of animals up on here. But it looks like the elephants have been pruning it. There's quite a few broken branches from a long time ago. But it's becoming a bit more difficult to feed on now because they've broken all the lower branches. He's going to have to stretch up really hard. Barbell, yes, we are looking at him go. And he's munching away. It's like he's not even taking a breath. He's just devouring everything in sight. But that's what an elephant has to do. I really wish I was an elephant sometimes. I'd love to be able to just eat and eat and eat and eat all day long and go and drink water and then bath in that as well. But we'll see if we can find the rest of the herd, which I think is just a little bit further west from here.
Here we have got some impalas, and they are wishing you, as am I, a very good afternoon here from the western fringes of the Greater Limpopo Transfrontier Park. My name is James, and on camera is Bokomoso BK. There he is. Our impala there are sort of looking around a little bit nervously, and they are perhaps alarming because the wind is blowing or because they are having a bit of a fight with each other. And sometimes it's difficult to tell if they're alarming or if they are rutting. Now, the rutting is when they fight with each other over ladies, and alarming is what they do when they've seen a predator. And at the moment, they're kind of looking all directions and every so often making a sort of snorting alarm call. So they are having a bit of a rut, but they might also be a little bit nervous because of the wind. Let's just drive up there and have a look both sides and see if there isn't a predator stalking across the plains here. That would be a nice way to start our drive. They don't look very happy with life. But then again, it's difficult to tell if an impala's looking happy with life. It's not like they smile a great deal. And a windy afternoon like this is going to make them nervous anyway, because they will struggle to hear. Ooh, that's good. They'll struggle to hear the approach of predators. They'll struggle to smell any potential predators. Now let's see if these guys have a fight. They are, of course, wasting their time. The ladies are not interested anymore. Those that are going to be pregnant are pregnant, although some might come into estrus, which is their time of mating around September. But right now, there are no ladies ready to mate. No ewes. Kip, with impala, it's actually really easy. The females don't have horns. So these are two males. And the females just look like the males, but without the horns. Except in the case of that one impala that lives where TAYLA lives, at Pridelands, and she's got horns, but I suspect that they are much thinner and not quite as long as those two impalas' horns. All right, we'll just show you one more thing before we move on, and that is the gloriously coloured Birchall starling walking down the edge of the termite mound with a friend of his, a Cape turtle dove, who is not quite so brightly coloured, and I'm sure walks around and flies around feeling a great sense of deep jealousy that it isn't as brightly coloured as the Birchall starling. Good. On we go. Our plan this afternoon, as it is every afternoon, is to head off to the east. See if we can pick up some leopards, or a leopard. One will do. But we'll see what else we can find on the way. I'm sure we'll have an entertaining time regardless. But I believe that Lauren, who has gone off towards the southwest, has got a herd of impalas with boys and girls, I'm sure.
Good afternoon, everyone. And yes, James, I do have a whole herd. We have young boys. We have one dominant male. I can't see any others, and lots of females here. Just enjoying a little bit of shade on this hot, sunny afternoon. My name is Lauren, and I do have Davy on camera. That's his thumb, by the way, in case you're wondering what that is. And we're just admiring these impala on the western side of Djuma Game Reserve. Sometimes impala can really tell you what's going on around. But right now, they're not telling me much. They're eating. They're relaxing. They're very calm. But I can only see one male. So what that means is that this male with the big horns, you see his gorgeous lyre-shaped horns, has managed to secure all of these females as part of his, what we call harem. Now, this is temporary. This was for the rutting season. Once the rutting season finishes, this harem dissolves, and the males will no longer be in competition with one another, and they become friends again. Yes, but right now they're not friends. They're competing. They want as many females as they can get in order to mate with them all. The more females, the more chance of having more offspring. But sometimes during the rutting season, the males can become very occupied with the ladies and they forget to eat. Can you believe it? So sometimes they lose condition. And very often we see male impalas as, well, with leopards and lions killing them at this season because they're not paying enough attention. They're far too occupied with all these beautiful females. So, Davi, if you look just in front of us, sitting down, that's a young boy. Amelia and Yun, you're asking why they don't have super curly horns and they only have half horns. Well, Davi's given us the perfect view of this young boy, and you can see his are very straight. You see that? They're small. That's how we know that he's young. And they're very straight. It isn't until they get older that they start to take a different shape. And you can actually age an impala, or roughly age an impala, by looking at the horns. They start to twist and turn into what we call lyre shape as they get older. So the bigger and more dominant they are, normally they're older males, like that one we saw earlier who has gorgeous horns. Now, various different species of antelopes out here have different shaped horns. And normally the males will actually fight using their horns. They'll clash, they'll lock horns, and that's why they turn like that. Do you see the twist? Because they're able to interlock with one another when they're fighting. They don't normally kill one another. With impala, one male will back down and say, okay, you won, which is far better. So I am still convinced the lions are on our property somewhere, so we're going to leave these impala and go searching for them.
Oh, sorry everyone, we just had an elephant up on the termite mound and he was almost dangling over my car. It was pretty incredible. He was stretching up and reaching the tops of the branches, but he's moved off now. That didn't last very long. But there's another one through the bushes, a lovely abstract shot. If it was summertime, we wouldn't be able to see this elephant because pretty much all the trees would have had leaves on them. So all safari guides are very thankful for this time of the year in the Lowveld as the vegetation starts to thin out a little bit, which makes it incredibly easy to find animals. Well, you'd think. But it is much easier than in the summer months when the grass is so tall and the trees are filled with leaves. But let me go up further forward for you, Fat, because I think there's some buffalo up ahead. And I'm excited to see what these two elephant bulls do when they meet the buffalo. Let's see, there's one fairly close, so I just need to find a nice gap for Gert so that he can see both species. I think if I go up and over this little bump. Now, Emily, who's just 6 years old, you've inquired about elephants and them standing on their back legs. We'll just start here because I think the elephant is going to move. They do indeed, but you normally see that behavior in certain areas. I suppose any elephant can stand on its back legs if they wanted to, but they don't always need to do this. They use a lot of energy by jumping up like that. So essentially, if you go into an area in Zimbabwe or in Zambia, along the Zambezi River, these are, of course, not elephants, Emily, but I'm sure you knew that. These are the Cape buffalo. But what they will do is they feed on a tree called a winter thorn, and it gets these lovely pods that pretty much sustain them through dry season. And those trees are so tall that they can't reach them without standing on their back legs. So that's where you get elephants that stand up like that. But occasionally you can see it in other areas too. A buffalo, however, we won't really see standing on its back legs. Maybe sometimes, but not really. Not today, we won't. So this is a big buffalo bull, and he's not alone. He's got some friends, but they're just moving away. I think that they realize that there's some elephant bulls here and know what trouble they can cause. So they've sort of thought we're not going to be bothered by them today. We'll move on and wait somewhere else, except for this guy. He's looking at us right now, though, getting the classic buffalo stare. So it's not uncommon to see different animals all hanging around together. It's actually quite normal. But sometimes elephants can be a bit bossy and will even chase animals like buffalo away. They chase impala, they chase warthogs, they kind of chase everything. But the elephants are getting closer now. So the bull we're about to look at, he was the fella that was standing up on the termite mound, feeding on that nice weeping boerbean tree. Oh, he's reversing. He's found something interesting. He even has some green grass there. That's unusual to see at this time of the year. Perhaps it was underneath a log. No, he's fiddling with something on the ground. Maybe there's a root or a bulb. He hasn't even finished chewing the food that he's got in his mouth. That's bad table manners. I wonder what he's got. I'm very intrigued to see what he's going to pull out of the ground now. Nothing. No. Maybe he couldn't get it out and didn't want to waste too much more energy. Here's another younger bull. Okay, now they're going straight towards the buffalo. I don't think the elephants know that the buffalo are there, or they're just not acknowledging them. But especially bulls of this age, it would be strange if they didn't chase the buffalo, because they're at the point where... So they basically, you've got all this pent-up energy, and they get a bit annoyed, and then they just chase everything. So it should be quite funny. Julian, you know, when you're an elephant, and actually I think a lot of animals eat on the go, but elephants have the ability to not have to grab food with their mouths. So you see they're using their trunks to do all the work. So that allows them to take a couple of steps, and they can reach out and grab things as they go past and then put it in their mouth. I suppose like vervet monkeys and baboons and bush babies and some other primate species are able to do the same thing. It's obviously a bit difficult for an impala or to be able to eat on the go, but sometimes you see them with their heads on the ground, and they take a step and they take a mouthful of food, and then they take another step, but they don't move quite as quickly as the elephant. So I think that's thanks to having something like a trunk which acts almost as an arm. Completely ignoring the buffalo. That older bull is just a bit more worried about what the younger one was eating. You can see that dark speck just to the left of the elephants. That is a buffalo just hiding under there. He's still standing his ground. It's funny because when you go up into East Africa, where you've got these huge open grasslands, you'll see buffalo and elephants interacting with one another quite happily. And you'll see a couple of hundred buffalo in a herd, and then 40 or 50 elephants all just grazing in the open and kind of ignoring one another. But maybe these boys will prove me wrong today and show that they don't always have to be so bossy and chase everybody around. Maybe the older bull has taught these younger fellas a little lesson in respect and giving those buffalo some space. Oh, the wind is starting to pick up now. You can start to see the trees are all rustling. I hope it doesn't get too windy tonight. I've also just been listening to see if I can hear the rest of the elephants. Now, Bianca, yes, of course, elephants and lots of other animals definitely get scared because of the wind and the rain. It's not because they don't like, thunder and things like that. Well, I think that must be not nice, those loud bangs. But what the wind and the rain does is that it muffles sound. Well, that's quite a cool shot. There's a buffalo right behind the elephant on the left. He's just standing there. He's just arrived out. That's quite nice. So elephants and a lot of other animals rely heavily on their hearing. And when they... Goodness, elephant, that was a long fart. Did you hear that? I promise that wasn't me. So elephants in particular rely heavily on their hearing, and so do a lot of different animals. So if they can't hear very well, it's a problem, right? So they do become quite nervous. So then you see animals like impala and zebra and other antelope species all moving out to the open where they can see a little bit better, because then they have to rely on a different sense. And the predators use this to their advantage because it means that they can move a lot quicker. Their scent is typically hidden much better when the wind and the rain is about.
Good afternoon, everyone, from Tswalu Kalahari Reserve in this most gorgeous part of the southern Kalahari. Our ex-birthday boy, HENDRY, doing his thing on the camera there. And my name's Dylan. It is, as always, fantastic having you with. In terms of this like really odd setup that you see here, you may have guessed it. Yeah, we're doing another stakeout. Hopefully, this afternoon is going to be a little bit more productive than we were yesterday afternoon. There were reports of brown hyena actually coming out to this eland carcass in broad daylight yesterday afternoon. When was it? The day before when we sat out here, it wasn't productive. Yesterday afternoon, when we weren't here, when we actually had our let's say our vehicle glitch, apparently there were really good brown hyena out here. So we're taking a chance now. We're going to sit, but we've got some other little odds and ends that we're going to show you as well. But as always, I think this is going to be super exciting, and it's fantastic having you with us. Ask those questions. Hopefully we can give you the right answers. Yeah, so we've just made this little screen out of little wooden branches, and really the idea here is not to be completely concealed, but rather just to break up our outline. Camouflage works like that. It's the intent of camouflage is to break up your outline, so an animal doesn't recognize another animal's shape, or insects or birds' shape or form. And that's really what we're doing here. As long as we can sit, and the key thing obviously is we have to sit quietly. The one thing that's not hugely in our favor this afternoon, but we'll work with it, is this morning the wind. Remember, we were sitting at that pan, it was pushing out of the north, it was perfect, and now we've got a big cold front coming in. It's way over the horizon, you can't see the clouds from where we're sitting here, but there are these low scudding clouds to the southern horizon. So Pedro, who's 6, has just asked, well, where in Africa or South Africa are we? So we're right down in the south, in southern Africa, but we're in South Africa itself, and within South Africa, we're right on the northern border. We are very close to the Botswana-Namibian border. In a straight line from where Jean and I are sitting here, we are probably 70 to 80 kilometers as the crow flies to the Botswana border. So we're right on the northern tip of South Africa. But yeah, it's super exciting, and I'm really hoping we can get a good close-up of some brown hyena this afternoon. This is going to be a shot in the dark here. And as I say, one of our challenges with the wind is that it's actually, with this cold front coming in, it's swung now at 90 degrees to where it was coming from this morning. Which is not ideal for us, but I'm hoping that we're going to produce something.
Oh no, Dylan, don't say things like cold front to me. I shiver at the thought. Although it doesn't look too bad outside. It's all lovely and not clear, there's some clouds. Actually, it's a bit gloomy now. But we're still with the boys, still with the elephant bulls. They're still eating. They have not chased the buffalo yet. I feel like if they chase the buffalo, this could be the highlight of our drive. Do you know what I'm going to do, Kat? No, actually, you've got a view there. There's another buffalo. There's about 5 buffalo bulls that we see regularly at the eco-training camp. They come on down to Ndlovu Dam. Sometimes there's 7 of them. I think, did I tell you about us wanting to give them the names of the 7 dwarfs, but then they don't all stick together, so it doesn't really work. But anyways, but it's just really amazing that we constantly see the same animals, and normally we fixate on lions and leopards and cheetah and hyenas and meerkats, but we don't normally see, or maybe it's just because I haven't taken notice before, but I didn't realize like how often we see the same herd of impala, or the same buffalo that come down, or for us, we've been lucky, the same elephants. What are you doing, buffalo? Are you trying to go over that log? Listen, I don't know if you're built from gymnastics, so maybe just take it easy there, buddy. Oh, he's got his horns hooked. Oh, he's very graceful, this fella, as you can see. I think buffalo and graceful are 2 words that you wouldn't normally find in a sentence together. Yes, we all saw that. Embarrassed now. Was he just scratching? Oh, Gert says he was just having a little bit of a scratch. I suppose that's a good belly scratching log. They did go down to Leopard Dam. Oh, he's got a stumpy tail. He's lost most of it. That's unfortunate, and you can see him swishing it around furiously. I don't think it's doing much at all. It's like a broken windscreen wiper. That's not doing any good. There we go. The animal with the stumpiest of tails that does use their tail to swish their feces around is the animal that James has.
Taylor, I don't have a tail at all. Not a stumpy one, not a long one, no tail whatsoever. But, yes, that hippopotamus does have a stumpy tail, like a paddle, which is used to spray the dung that it produces in all directions. Quite a remarkable habit it has, and it does that to mark its territory. And if you look around a waterhole like this, where a hippopotamus is resident, and you look at the bushes, you will find a number of bushes that have been sprayed with hippopotamus dung. Now, I think far more interesting than the hippopotamus at this juncture is this group of little grebes. There are 4 of them, and we watched them from the time they were eggs to now. And this little family of grebes has done rather well. They only have about I think it's a 15% chance of surviving to adulthood. And these ones have done pretty well. Quite interestingly too, the adults seem to be losing their breeding coloration, because they all look rather similarly coloured, except for the one. There's in the group of 3, the one on the left. It still looks like it has its adult coloration on. And I think we called the little chicks Harold, and it was Ibrahim or Ishmael, something like that. Named by a viewer in London, I think. Yes, thank you, Emma. That's absolutely correct. It wasn't Ishmael, it was Zahir. Harold and Zahir. Exactly. Precisely. Now, since I was last here, another group of grebes have taken up residence here. And there are 2 adults and 1 baby. I'm just wondering to myself if the group that lives in the dam in front of our dam cam has not moved here. Maybe they flew over this side. So I don't think I saw them in our dam this morning, but I may be wrong. They're very sweet little birds. Now, it's a relatively warm afternoon, but this wind, it's sort of cooling it down. Oh, there we go, big yawn from the hippo. Now, it's not a particularly impressive yawn, that, because he doesn't have very big teeth on the top jaw, although he is a very dramatic hippopotamus. Right, let's go back to TAYLA. Something exciting going on there.
It may because the buffalo are just meters away from one of the younger elephant bulls, so I'm hoping that his normal boisterous nature might chase them off, because no one else seems to be interested. Don't make me look bad, elephants. You always chase every animal possible. I watch you at Ndlovu Dam, how you chase warthogs, impala, all the things. There we go. They're giving one another the evil eye. Look how he slightly raised his head and flared his ears out. Are you scared of the buffalo, elephant? Maybe he's wise. I'm also not buffalo's biggest fan. They terrify me. That's what my nightmares are made out of. Anyways, okay, so it doesn't seem like we're going to have any altercation between the 2 species. I suppose that's a good thing. It is nice to see how closely they are standing with one another. They don't seem to be too perturbed at all. Oh. Now, if Susan was here, it'd be a different story. My favorite elephant. We're going to find her. I'm going to find that breeding herd after this. Gert, would you like me to move up so we can look at our other buffalo that we see on a regular basis? We think it's him. It just requires me to do a small amount of repositioning. These boys are very relaxed. There's more buffalo here. And the one with the stumpy tail that we're looking at, we think, might be our friend that has had an issue with his tongue. But we'll see now. I don't know why I'm sticking my tongue out now. Just by habit. It's going to go past. No, everyone seems to have their tongues intact. That was terrible, hey? Forward. Whoa. Okay. Sorry, we're communicating as to which is the best angle. There we go. Now you can see the two buffalo. Neither of these have stumpy tails, so our friend is at the back. We'll have to wait for him to come up. But these are fairly old bulls, hey? He's actually not too old, but you can start to see those wrinkles forming around the eyes. That boss is nice and big. That's the part, that helmet on top of his head that you can see. But his horns at the tip are slightly rounded, so it suggests that he is aging. And, of course, he's covered in mud. Very typical of a Dagga boy. But he's actually not even big in comparison to the baddie on the left. Look at the sheer size of this man. Whew. If you don't last through winter with all that extra weight that you're carrying on, then there's no hope for any of the other animals. Look at the muscle on his shoulder. Much older bull. Very relaxed. So it's nice to spend some time with a buffalo as well. Also at close proximity from a car, where I feel a lot safer. But look at how round he is. You know what? It looks like he's like a Shetland pony. Those miniature horses, if you've never seen one before. Well, no, they're not. But I think a miniature horse is different from a Shetland pony, but I don't know. But they just look out of proportion with their short little legs and their bellies that normally touch the ground. And that's what this buffalo has just reminded me of. Are you supposed to be that big? Ooh. Bianca, I know you're just 8 years old, and I think this is a fantastic question. Yes, I do know some elephants that have been as grumpy as buffalo. Oh, why are you running? I don't know why he's running with all the buffalo and I'm moving away. So, yes, I think it definitely does happen. Do you know when an elephant is super grumpy is when they come into must, and basically, oh, they're running because of the elephant. That makes a lot more sense. He's coming behind us. So when they come into must, they go around and around and look for the girls. They're after them, and then their testosterone levels are heightened, and then this tends to send them a little bit crazy, and they just become a bit intolerant of people and other animals and other elephants, and they get quite boisterous and bossy, and then they really push everybody around. Sometimes elephant cows can also become quite grumpy too. I've experienced that. One of the times many years ago when I was charged, actually the only time I've ever been severely charged by an elephant cow, I don't even know what I did wrong. She just came out of nowhere and she pushed a tree down right next to my car, and I had to reverse back at 1,000,000 miles an hour. It was terrifying. I don't know what had upset her, but maybe something had happened with another elephant, or maybe, who knows. But look at this buffalo. Look at him, how cross he is. I'm going to hit the tree with my horns. Yes, you showed that tree. We're all terrified now. Let's see what he's going to do to that big marula tree. I'm sad he's now turned away, because he has actually got a different color on his boss, on his horns. I'm sure you saw that. It's almost like a reddish color in between the little cracks. So you're going to have a rub. See, so buffalo, like elephants, like to have scratchings. Not scratchings. I like to have scratches up against trees. But buffalo, for a specific reason, will actually rub their heads up onto a tamboti tree in particular, and it looks like that's exactly, sorry, elephants are pushing trees down literally behind us, 2 different elephants. And that will stop sort of parasites and ticks and things forming in between the horns and the skin, which I'm sure that they get a fair amount of in that area. That was quite nice to see. But also scratching up against marula tree has got a red cambium layer. I'm going to try and see if we can get a better view of these elephants that are pushing down the trees the next time you see us.
We have just came to check a water hole, which was always a good place to check. Not been fruitful so far for me, but we do have a little Franklin family. Have they just disappeared, Davy?
Yeah.
I think it's a male, a female, and their offspring. Let's just give it a moment to see if they reappear. They've probably been a bit startled by the vehicle. I think there was 4 or 5 little chicks there. Oh, they're now hiding from us, I'm afraid. Can you see them, Davy? Oh, I can. I can see them. Okay, how do I direct you? Yes, it's popping its little head out here, I think, Davy. Yeah, there we go. Well done. Sarah, you're wondering what species of francolin this is. I think this is a crested francolin. Look, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I don't actually think that is the francolins. You're also asking about, so within the family, we get red-winged francolins, but we don't often see them here. The ones we do tend to see more in this area are the coqui francolins and the crested francolins. But the spurfowls are also very, very similar looking, and they're sort of grouped together in the same family of birds. And I wonder if that was a Natal spurfowls. Have you seen where they went, Davy? I can't exactly. Oh, so from my little chicks, who I'm not sure we're going to get another view of, we are going to send you across to James, who has a bird of his own.
This is a very special bird. This is the Bennett's woodpecker. And they are unusual in so much as they feed normally, or quite often, on the ground. Although I can hear another woodpecker going tap, 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 and they often occur in pairs, so I wonder if this one isn't one of a pair. Really nice picture of them. We don't often see them so well at all. So that is the male Bennett's woodpecker. And off he goes. Thank you, Sammy Jane. You say very cool indeed. Here are all of the woodpeckers that we find in the area, conveniently all on one place, on one page. The cardinal, the golden-tailed, the bearded, and the Bennets. And that's the Bennets that we saw over there. And we saw the male. And the one you can confuse it with would be the male golden-tailed woodpecker. This particular fellow is, he's slightly bigger, the Bennets, and he's also got that colour over there. All right, let's go across to the Stinky Fort in the Kalahari and see what's happening there.
Watch this, guys. Watch. I'm talking very quietly. I can't tell you. Watch. It's coming out. Give it time. I can't reveal what it is. Just keep watching. This is insanely exciting. almost. There it goes. There it goes. Look at this. Look at this. Yes. 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 Brown hyena. Brown hyena. This is a incredibly good sighting. Oh my word. Oh my word. I am now. Alright. I can leave this earth. This is unbelievable. This has exceeded my expectations. I was actually genuinely kind of like mentally preparing myself to sit here for another 2.5 hours. On the off chance that one comes in, and this has just blown my mind. Chandra and I were actually talking about there were 2 springbuck in the distance, and we were talking about are they going to be more alert in the presence of predators. We weren't even concentrating, and next thing the hyena like walks out into the open. I cannot describe how fantastic this is. What an animal. And I'm sorry, I'm just whispering. I just really want to make as little sound as possible. Oh, this is off the charts. You know, it's one thing to see a brown hyena in the distance or trotting off, but to be able to sit quietly, and you see the advantage that we took here by actually building this little screen, this little hide. This is epic on every level. On every level. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. I just need to calm down here, but catch my breath. Okay, everyone, we have finished the kids session. The kids session is finished now, but kids, you're welcome to stay and keep joining us. Keep asking questions. #WildEarth. And like this, I'm just like blown away how exciting this is. And I'm so pleased, so chuffed that you guys can all see this. Yow, 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 yow. Yes, and here I am, like kind of like setting up for the long haul here. Saying, okay, well, I'm hoping, but you can never guarantee it, and then this happens. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Again, this is an interesting species in terms of distribution and threats against it. It covers a huge area, found in many places, but numbers are declining in lots of those places because they will actually go for livestock occasionally. That it brings them into conflict with people. So there's a lot of areas where people don't like having brown hyena around. And if you compare them to spotted hyenas, much smaller family groups, tiny family groups. Tracy, they're not endangered. They're not regarded as endangered, but they are regarded as vulnerable. On the IUCN, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, on their red list, they're regarded as threatened, or vulnerable rather. So there are threats that range against them, but in big protected areas like Tswalu, it seems we've got stable populations, although we don't know exactly what that is. So to see a brown hyena like this is just absolutely incredible. Oh wow, I'm so happy here, guys. Jeez. And I'm hoping that other animals... This is just on a different level now. And I'd be very interested to see if we actually get spotted hyena coming into this carcass. But I would guess they would probably come in much later. I don't know if you can see there's a springbuck in the distance. Okay, Chandra's got that there as well. Well done. I'm actually going to try and take a photograph here as well. I hope you don't mind. Yeah. So keep watching, keep watching.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to And Beyond Ngala for the afternoon sunset safari. As you can see, we managed to find the Birmingham Pride. So Nikki, Yarp, and Eric actually found them this morning. And then after an intense game of spot the brown lion in the long brown grass, we managed to find them again. So this afternoon, you're still with myself, Sean, and we still got the OD behind the camera. And now we're just trying to figure out exactly where all of these lions are. So I have counted 12 lions, and there should be 17, I think they said. 17 here, so if we count from that side. I mean, it's very hard, as you can see. Just in this long grass right here, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12. And you just look in your screen there and you see how well these camouflage in here. We probably spent about 5 to 7 minutes just driving around here looking for them. I mean, it's incredible. Again, like I said to the leopards this morning, the camouflage of these animals is phenomenal. But what struck me is that, you know, as you saw at the beginning, there's a young male moving. You can see that bit of a beard, bit of that mane growing just under his neck there. You can see it hanging down. It's the start of his mane. But as you see where he goes, the number of them have actually moved into the sun. Because even now it's starting to cool down a little bit. And they know that tonight's probably going to be very, very cold. There's no clouds in the sky, which means that all the heat is going to escape, and it's going to be a very, very cold evening. And that is most likely why they're starting to move into the sun now. So they can get that warmth, sort of warm up their bodies before the cold night ahead. You see a little bit more activity now, that one. So the one there in the screen now, grooming herself, that's the female. That is the female with the dodgy eye. She's the one that's got that pink eye that Rowan saw yesterday. But while we wait for her to sort of look at us and get a better view of that eye, what we're going to do is send you across to Lauren, who's having another close encounter with some elephants.
We have 2 bulls here. Young bulls forming their own little bachelor herd. And very, very relaxed. There's actually another one further up on the right that we don't really have a good view of. So I'm wondering if this is part of a bigger herd and maybe the rest of the herd is down in the Mulwati. And interestingly enough, many of you reached out to me this morning about the pink tusk story. That you can dye elephants' tusks in order, well, to deter poaching. And apparently that's been completely debunked. They don't do that. But it actually is possible to do it, if that makes sense. It's not impossible. You can dye tusks due to the sort of cross-section of the... some form of communication happening there. But yes, because of the cross-section, sort of diamond shape interior of the dentine, it does actually dye, but it's not an appropriate method to deter poaching. 1, far too logistical. The elephants would probably go into shock, and it probably wouldn't be worth it. If you dye every single elephant's tusks bright pink, that would probably become the next fashionable object, and there would be a market, there would be demand for pink tusks. So it doesn't happen. But it is possible. You can dye the tusks. I can only see 3, but I think the rest have gone... Oh no, I can see more there. We don't have as many elephant pool parties anymore because, of course, it's winter. And although many of our water bodies still hold enough water to host a pool party, it's too cold. You can see the elephants are not flapping their ears so much, just every so often, but not as constant as they do during the hot temperatures of summer. Okay, so we're going to let these elephants be. It's really time to go and focus on the lions, and as we do that, we're going to send you to Clive, who has another grey animal.
Well, our big grey animals are two white rhinos. The one you're looking at now is the mother, and the one on the right looks like quite an old calf of this mother. They were a little bit closer to us a few minutes ago, but they seem to have moved slightly behind some bushes, but it's actually still quite a nice view from where we are. But as you can see, they are very, very aware of us. Those ears are like concentrated forwards on us because of probably us talking. And with their eyesight not being the best, they have to rely on that hearing to keep them aware of any danger around. Okay, as these rhinos disappear over the hill, we've still got them a little bit. Okay, good. It's just some ears up above the bushes there.
Well, it is the cutest ears. So.
Yeah, true. Rhinos do have very cute ears. Data, you're right. This is an amazing landscape here. Some quite big, wide open grasslands. A few little riverbeds where you get quite a high concentration of trees. And then a few little scattered bushes around, like the ones that the rhinos are behind. But otherwise, it's a really big open grassland. And the reason we're out here today is because a pride of lions was seen out in this area this morning, a little bit further on up ahead of us. So we are going to head there soon. But we're going to leave these rhinos. I'm sure they're just going to carry on grazing for a little bit longer while it's still nice and cool this afternoon. And we're going to carry on towards where those towards where those lions were seen this morning. And we're going to, for now, send you back to carry on with your safari with Dylan.
So this brown hyena, he moved around. He was feeding on the forequarters, on the front of the animal. And now he's come around back to the hindquarter again. At one stage, he actually had his head stuck right through the rib cage. So his body was outside, his head was inside the rib cage. Oh my word, this is just beautiful to watch. Beautiful to watch. And it's so nice for you to be able to see the difference between this and the spotted hyenas that our colleagues are being able to see down at the other places. The spotted hyenas, much larger animals, very round ears, like teddy bear ears. Guys just asked if brown hyenas live in clans. Like spotted hyenas. No, they don't. They live in small family groups. So the most that you'd get together of these would be 5, 6, 7. And it's normally a male and a female, and then youngsters. Whereas your spotted hyenas, they can get really, really big clans, 20, 30, 40 together. So that's a very, very, very important difference between them. And then obviously the coat, like these are long, shaggy brown coats. Spotted hyenas have got much, much shorter fur and spots, as their name implies. In some areas of Namibia, they're actually known, and even in South Africa, along the coastal areas of the Atlantic seaboard, they are known as a strandwolf. A strandwolf, which means a beach wolf. A beach wolf. And they have this incredible ability to survive in areas with no freestanding water, in incredibly arid areas. Whereas spotted hyenas, they need water to survive in areas. And that helps these. They actually can persist in areas where spotted hyenas can't live. Okay, there might be another hyena coming in or something else. Okay, see. Okay, watch, there it goes. Okay, that animal is not running away from us. Yeah, we're just gonna see what else comes in here, because he didn't run away from us and he kept looking in that direction of the dune. So there's something else, I think, in the area, but I don't know what. Let's wait and see what happens.
We have our regular water monitor lizard here. I think he thinks we can't see it, but of course we can. Yesterday when BK and I came here, there was five water monitors on this dead knobthorn. And they're quite territorial, so I'm wondering if there is a territorial male and the others are youngsters, or possibly even females. It's been a long time since I've seen a rock monitor, but the water monitors are very reliable. Aren't they just gorgeous? Now, winter's tough for reptiles. They rely on the external environment. They rely on to be solar powered from the sun, so it's not easy when the temperatures start to drop. They reduce their metabolism in order to survive. And those scales, all reptiles have scales, from your tortoises to your snakes to your lizards. And these scales not only act as armor, but of course they do help in temperature regulation. So they help keep the heat locked in. It's sort of been stored up throughout the day. So I think our little friend here is sunbathing. And just like a snake, we find snake skins regularly out here, just hanging on trees. Lizards shed their skin too. Richard, you win. You win. Worst joke of the day, but it's the best, really. You have your monitor on a monitor. I like it. Do you like that one, Dobby? Dad joke of the day. We have a monitor lizard, and hopefully you're all watching it on a monitor. Now, with reptiles, they won't expend any energy if they don't have to. With any living organism, it's all about your energy budget. You can't go over budget. Let's remove humans from this equation, shall we? But every other living creature is all about your energy. You don't want to go into a deficit. You should always be in a surplus. So for reptiles, because they do get their energy from the sun, it's important to keep that energy for when they need it to A, escape predators, or B, hunt. And I guess C, mate. And that's exactly why these monitors, I can't see the others, but there's definitely more, just spend most of their afternoon resting. I think my spirit animal would be reptilian. I love to lie in the sun. It's my favorite thing in the whole world. And equipped for both being in water. Oh, it's really windy. Lisa, you're right. They do struggle in winter. They do. It's a completely different environment for them. Oh, my goodness. I'm not sure if you can hear that, but all of a sudden it's got very windy. And they're equipped. They have evolved along the lines of evolution, to be able to control their temperature. That's why they do have things like scales. But yes, winter is very, very different from summer for reptiles, and a lot of them burrow deep in the ground. Some of them estivate, which is a sort of state of reduced activity, almost like hibernation. But hibernation is a term we use to describe mammals. And snakes, they do something called brumation, and it's exactly the same. They'll bury into a burrow underground and just rest there, lower their metabolic activity, and not do very much. But with brumation, snakes can actually wake themselves out of that torpor if they need water. And they can replenish, hydrate, and once they've sort of met their water requirements, they can then go back and continue with their brumation. So they go into a state of rest, a state of torpor, and I'm being blinded by the sun here, which is fabulous. And that's how they essentially survive out here. It gets very cold in winter, as you know. Okay, so we're going to let this little monitor enjoy his sunbathing and we bumble on forward.
Okay, so we're still sitting here with our lines. We've had one rollover, which was quite exciting. And now you can see that that young female is busy grooming another one of the youngsters. One of the older youngsters. Remember, there's number of different ages here now, but the one that's doing the grooming, as we said earlier, is the one with the sore eye. There you can see her left or her right eye. Oh, is that an eyeball that you saw there? Oh, I saw a little bit of black around that pink. Looks like there might be an eyeball in there. If you look carefully, guys, as it catches the light there, you can see on the left hand side, it's like 3/4 pinky red, a little bit of black. So it looks like, oh God, I don't know, is there an eyeball in there? Is the eyeball being, but has the eyeball been ruptured? And that pink, you know, like a claw, or maybe when they are feeding, a bone stabbed in and cut like the sort of, the cornea, the lens part of your eye. And now it's sort of like folded in, and that pink is the inside. I don't know what the inside of an eyeball looks like. Any of your doctors or vets on watching the show, yeah, Kerry, I think it might be the pupil. I think it might. You know, the glimpses are fleeting, but it does look black. But then, Kerry, you know, it begs the question, what is the pink? Because if you look at her sort of eyelid, and the top and bottom eyelids are perfectly intact. It's not like that piece of pink skin there is part of the eyelids. So I don't know what it is. Is it part of the eyeball? Is it skin, or I don't know, from inside or behind the eye? Because I definitely agree with you, Kerry. I think there was black there. If it is the pupil or not, as I said, I'm not an optometrist, the eye doctor. So so we got a comment from Ing Fran saying, I don't know, spelled like eyeball. Funny. Oh, it's like one of the zebra jokes from this morning. Ing Fran, I liked it. I did smile. Thank you for that. But you see, even if that lioness now is going blind, it's not a train smash. You know, we got a pride that comes in from our northwestern boundary, the Avoca pride. One of their females has a blind eye. And many animals out here with blind eyes. I've seen a zebra with a blind eye, wildebeest, warthog, buffalo with 2 blind eyes, lions with blind eyes. They can survive. Especially this one here. She's a female, which means she's going to stay in this pride for her whole life. Which means she's got other pride members to hunt for her. She's got other pride members that will defend if something does happen. So she will most likely be perfectly fine, which is good. You know, can you just imagine if this happened to the young male? He's got a bag left leg and a broken front eye. He would have just been a train smash. So it's a bad deal, but it's manageable. It's manageable. This lioness will be perfectly fine. She doesn't seem to be too worried about it. She's not cleaning it with her paw constantly. She's not trying to wipe it. She's not trying to swipe it. She doesn't scratch it on anything. So she doesn't seem too bothered by it. Yesterday, Rowan saw her playing with those two little cubs. So she's still being active. She's still being playful. She's not... I would imagine, if in pain, they would be a bit more grumpy, maybe more aggressive, especially towards the cubs that were trying to climb on her and bite her. But she was being gentle. So it doesn't seem that severe to her. Maybe it just looks really bad to us. Okay, so Moonbeam is wondering if lions can get conjunctivitis. Moonbeam, I am also wondering that now. Anything I told you would be something I made up. I don't know if lions can get conjunctivitis or not. I'll see if I can find it in the book. I don't think it will tell me, so I'll have to do some online research and let you know on Wednesday when I drive again, Moonbeam. It's possible. I'm not sure. But we're getting these like little flourishes of activity, and I'm just seeing more lions pop up every time one moves, and it like walks on another one. Oh, look, there's another lion in the grass. So I believe there are 17 lions here. Now we saw one Ross male on our way in. Can't see him now. He's lying down in the bushes quite far to our left there. So at least one Ross male, and then what looks to be all of the youngsters, all of the females, which means the two cubs are here as well, which would suggest all that we are missing is our favorite lion, or my favorite lion. We haven't seen him in a few days. I think he's still alive. He's just not with the pride. So hopefully we'll find him sometime soon. But it's just phenomenal. Myself and OD were talking about it now. Okay, so we got some information from one of our viewers, I think her name is Picky, saying that it's a cherry eye, which is a prolapsed something membrane. So I don't know if you guys are funny computers can. So it's a prolapsed lactating membrane. And that's what it is. Never heard of it before. I'll definitely have to Google that one. But there we go. That's what some of the information we are getting is saying that's what it is. And I mean the fact that, oh, there you see a bit more activity. One of the lionesses up and having a stretch now. I was saying, the fact that she's not irritating it is a good sign for us. Now this is one of the sort of middle-aged females. It's not the leader of the pride, but it's her daughter. So this is one of the ones that's about 7, 8, 9 years old. She just lay on top of one of the cubs now that you can see, one of the youngsters that is getting up. Now I haven't seen the mother of the tiny little cubs. So I haven't seen the little cubs here. So what we're going to do is sit here quietly to see if they come out.
So, yes, so Chandra and I have just kind of got our breath back after this. This was the most incredible hyena sighting. And such a privilege to be able to actually view them at eye level on the ground from this blind that we built over here, just out of these sticks and that stuff. The animal had no idea that we were here. But now, why we're really excited is that I think there's going to be something else coming in, hopefully in the not too distant future, because the animal kept on looking in that direction and then it ran off, very aware of something approaching from there. So we're just going to keep watching it. But while we're sitting here, I want to show you something very interesting. We've got this thorn branch, okay? It appears to be a normal thorn branch, and it is. It's spikes there. But the plot thickens, and this is where it gets interesting. If you have a look, you got it there, Chandra? Okay. You have a look at this thorn. That's taken off the same branch. These are dead branches, by the way. They weren't live, they're dead ones. There's a tiny little hole over there. Okay, and on this one just above it, if you can see that one, another tiny little hole over there. This is really cool to see. So these thorns, as they get older, they start getting thicker at the base, like that. You can see that. And then inside these little holes, there's a tiny, tiny, tiny little species of ant. Called Tetraponera. It's actually, the common name is easier. It's called a slender ant. And it's an easy one to remember, I say, because, well, you must imagine how slender you have to be able to get inside these thorns and actually turn around and live inside these little chambers. But what I find particularly fascinating about these is, you say, well, why would these thorns become swollen like this, and what benefit is there to the tree in having these ants? Well, the ants are clearly getting a home when the tree has got flowers on, and even when it's not, it's got these little nectaries. So it keeps on giving off this sweet substance that the ants can actually feed on. Okay, so the ants are getting a house, they're getting food. What does the tree get in return for hosting them? And this is the fun part. So there was a really nice study done in, I think, 2014 on acacias, which is the same genus. Well, this is now just been changed, but the same kind of trees as these in South America. And what the researcher there found was, on the same genus of ant, by the way, Tetraponera, is that the ants live in there, they give protection to the tree, but trees are susceptible to certain kinds of bacteria, and that would vary from species to species, also where you're living in the world. But this bacteria, okay, in itself is susceptible to antibiotics, a kind of antibiotic that the ants actually have on their feet. So the substance that the ants are giving off with this like antibacterial property actually inhibits bacterial growth on the trees. How frigging awesome is that? That's cool. We're going to keep watching for these ahinas. Holes in thorns.
Talking of animals being in trees, we have a lilac-breasted roller, perching perfectly and fighting against a wind. The wind has really picked up here in Djuma. Isn't that gorgeous? Can you imagine a human trying to balance on a branch like that? No, I definitely don't have the core muscles to do that. And sadly, we didn't get the European rollers this year. Nobody really understands why, but they didn't arrive. They didn't arrive with summer. And of course, our LBRs here are all year-round residents. They're very, very common, and they don't migrate. But their diet must change. They're insectivores, and if you think of the sort of sheer number of insects we have in summer compared to winter, they have to adapt with the season. They are quite ferocious. Looks can be deceiving, because they do also, well, they have been recorded eating snakes, lizards, and even small birds. But they're favourites, insects. Sir 50, good to hear your name. And yes, it's a flying rainbow. It's not quite flying right now, but it's a rainbow. Probably one of the most beautiful birds we do get out here. Although they have quite a frown, sometimes they look very, very grumpy, and they have the ugliest of calls. But they really are magnificent. And if you look under its chin, if you like, you can see the sort of way the colours blend into one another. The purple going into pink, scattered with cream. Looks a bit wobbly up there. Purple rollers are also residents, but we definitely don't see them as much as we see the lilac-breasted. And I have to say, I was very disappointed this year to find the Europeans not arrive. And of course, the name roller comes from the magnificent acrobatics they do in the sky. But they are monogamous, so they stay with their pair to breed. Jackie, yes, males and females do look the same, so it's very, very difficult to actually tell between the two. There's not even a size difference. So within some bird species, there's quite a dramatic size difference. And especially in your raptors, your birds of prey, the females tend to be much larger than the males. But with the lilac-breasted rollers, they're very similar. I couldn't possibly tell you if this was a male or a female. Juveniles are slightly different. They're a bit duller. They're not as brightly coloured. They're a bit browner. But between the sexes, it's very, very difficult. I think we're just going to sit here for a moment or two longer to admire my flying rainbow.
There we have something that might be described as anything but a rainbow, but still a magnificent collection of coppers and golds and bronzes and even a little bit of silver as it disappears off into the winter grass. That is the crested francolin. I've had a very pleasant afternoon so far, not a massively successful one, but I went for a nice long walk in the block where I thought Tundi was. And I'm afraid I saw nothing except some mongoose, lots of different kinds of birds, many different tree species, but no leopards. And then we found tracks of a female leopard out of the block, on the road, going completely opposite direction, without a baby, so I don't know what's going on. I've decided to stop worrying about it, and I'll just drive around and hopefully we'll bump into something that resembles a spotted cat. That is going to be our general plan. My current thinking on what's going on here, not here, but there with the leopards, is that Tundi's brought him out of Torchwood, which is the reserve east of us, and she's dropped him off and gone off hunting again. So maybe she didn't kill something, or she did and they finished it. There are some tree squirrels. And they are enjoying this leadwood tree, which has lots of holes in it, which is important. Now, apparently to those in the know, which clearly I was not one, these are not known anymore as tree squirrels. They are known as the Smith's bush squirrel. Not sure what the difference is. I'm going to continue calling them tree squirrels if it's all the same to you. But my friend Gavin says that they're called a Smith's bush squirrel. Well, Smith's bush squirrel or tree squirrel or whatever kind of squirrel they are. They seem to be hiding now, don't they, BK? Yes. How very unpleasant of them. Good. Let us continue. Well, we can have another look there. No, all we can see is a tail. You see the tail there, BK? That's what I was looking for when I went for my walk. Except I was hoping it was going to be a spotted tail. What was that, Gemma? What's news to you? The Smith's bush squirrel. Fantastic sighting there, about 4 hares each. World-class sighting. Thank you, squirrels. Thank you. Good. Well, that'll be the thumbnail for the drive. I hope you've all taken screenshots of that. Saved it in your memory banks. Highlights of the day. Now what Charlotte is going to do, she's one of the directors this afternoon, she's going to cut a slow-mo reel of that and hopefully post it on social media so that we can enjoy it again and again. While she does that, let's go back across to Ngala where the lions are.
So we're getting a bit more activity from our lions now. Maybe not as cool as that squirrel sighting you had, but we're enjoying it nonetheless. So you can see a number of them have got up from this little pile that we had here, and they've made their way towards where OD just was showing you. But I'm sure these ones are going to get up soon. You can see a lot more grooming, a lot more yawning, and that's all actually very good signs for us. When predators, lions, leopards, you see, when they groom and they yawn, it means they're going to be active. The level of activity varies for lions. See, that one just walked 2 steps. But it means they're going to be active. And that's exactly what we are seeing now. So they groom each other, all of that sort of thing. Bumping heads, grooming one another, as we were discussing the other day. All vitally important for the pride sort of lifestyle. Now we saw the mother of the cubs. In fact, I can still see her, but she's disappearing in the grass. But we can't see the cubs. All the lions are actually disappearing down there. I don't know where they're going. A lot of them just walk and then lie down again. But we're going to stay here because I think that the cubs are lying inside these thickets somewhere. So we're going to stay with these ones because I'm sure shortly they will get up as well. And when that happens, though, then we will follow. But you can see here, there's one big female. That's the one that you can see doing the grooming. And all the rest of these are youngsters. So it looks like we've got 2 males. That one joining up there, one of the males. And watch there, he's going to go to the Ross male. There, you see that there? So behind that grass pile, there's the Ross male. There he is. Looks like he's just rudely woken up. That's the one, the dominant one, the dark mane, the meaner one. Beautiful yawn. You see that? His tooth was chipped. His top right tooth is chipped. See if he yawns again. Now they're all starting to get up. There's a bit of a breeze now. The weather's cooled down quite a lot. I'm actually thinking about putting on a jersey. Jacket, a top. And that's good for these lions, you know. I don't enjoy it, but they love it. They might even be moving to a warmer place, a place more out in the open, where there's a bit more sun, maybe just trying to warm up, like we said, before the cold evening. Here comes our feisty little female. She doesn't look full, which is good, means she hasn't eaten the cubs. She looks like she was trying to yesterday. And there we go. It looks like they're all getting up. So we see what the Ross male does. Sure, he will get up though as well, and then we'll follow them, see where they lead us. It's amazing how you go from just nothing, you know, everybody's sleeping and relaxing, everybody just relaxing, and then suddenly they're like, yep, no, time to go. But Karun, yes, very true what you're saying there. It is a bit early for them to be active, But as I said, as you also stated, it is getting cold. So that's good for them. Also, they walked quite far last night. You know, we know they did eat maybe 2 or 3 nights ago, they did eat. So they're starting to get hungry again. This cooler weather, this wind picking up, it's all very, very good. Great hunting conditions in the wind. So maybe they're wanting to get a jump start on the night's activities. And just move into a better area where there's more game. I haven't seen any impala, zebra, wildebeest, buffalo, nothing in this area yet. So maybe they're heading to an area where they know more plains game to be. But now just watch the development. The Ross male, he was yawning. Now he's grooming. And I'll stay in the next minute. He will stand up. Starting now. Start your stopwatches. The next minute from now, he'll get up and follow the rest of them. I can still see 1, 2, 3. I can still see 3 of them, which means he can obviously still see them. So he's feeling comfortable for now. You better not let me down. Come on, stand up. Okay, I'm going to wait here quietly for this male to get up, hopefully in the next 20 seconds.
Wild Earth relies on support from viewers like you to carry on broadcasting our daily live shows. A small donation goes a long way in helping us on our mission to connect the world with nature. Please visit our support page to see how you can help and become part of the Wild Earth family.
So we're still doing our stakeout at the big stake that's lying out there. Oh, sorry, I just heard something. I just wanted to check out what it was. Just out of interest. This little is springbuck, or from a springbuck rather than is springbuck. It's from a springbuck. And this butte over here is from a giraffe. Leaves and twinkle time, and so is a giraffe. Although they don't normally go, they wouldn't go for grass. It's very unlikely. So that's just some like a little fun thing there. Just look at the size difference in those two. Obviously, the animals are vastly different in size. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I think just Genre, you okay? Genre sounds like he's choking. But I'm not doing CPR, I'm just saying. But look at the size difference in these herbivores in terms of the droppings. Giraffe are vastly, vastly bigger animals than springbuck. And you would actually think relative to their body size, they would have a larger dropping. But it's not the case, though. So that's just absolutely out of interest. We also had a jumping spider hopping around here just now, but now he's moved off. So we're just spending some time here. There's some birds, these white-browed sparrow weavers hopping around in the front here. And I'm still very, very optimistic about animals coming in later. Speaks Meow has just asked a very, very good question. Why are there no vultures around the carcass? And why I say it's an interesting question is, in a straight line now, we are probably 5 kilometers, 4 kilometers from the hills or the mountains on Tswalu. And what we find is you get a huge amount of turbulence over these mountains. And although if we went out far into the west of our reserve, so that's like another 25 kilometers away from here, you get lots of vultures out in those areas. If you have a carcass, they pack in on it very, very quickly. So it could just be the proximity to the mountains. And it could also even be something like, I mentioned the other day, this eland seems to have died in the shade, or what would have at that time been the shade of this tree. and it could just be that it was a little bit obscured. I was saying 2 days ago when we were here that we don't have, we've got them, but very low densities of things like Bateleur eagles and tawny eagles, and very often those are the ones in places like Djuma, Pinda, Ngala, that find those kind of carcasses first. Your ones that are a little bit obscured from the sight of vultures, they'll find them first, and then lead vultures into them, because vultures will be watching where they're flying. Whereas out here, we've got very, very low numbers of those species, so it's unlikely that they would actually pick it up, and could just make it that much more difficult for a vulture to locate it. But good question. We've actually got 3 different vulture species on Tswalu. We've got Cape vulture, which is quite rare, but then lots of white-backed vultures. And then we've also got leopard-faced vultures. So leopard-faced and Cape are the rare ones. Out of those 2, Cape is the most. But speaking of vultures, while we're on that topic of vultures, it's something interesting to touch on there quickly, is in South Africa, Southern Africa, white-backed vultures are regarded as the common species, and they've got a wide distribution. But they are actually endangered. If you look at the total range distribution across Africa, their numbers are plummeting. So you still got these strongholds of them, but just because an animal is common in one area, it doesn't mean that it's not threatened on a global scale. Vultures are amazing birds. Hopefully we'll see something in the coming weeks. It'll be very, very interesting to show you. And yes, there's lots to talk about on vultures. I mean, wow. Yes, Genre, we really enjoy sitting out in these little weird spots, so that's good. We were just having a laugh, like we were really expecting this long wait this afternoon with the hope of seeing something, or the chance of seeing something, and it's like one of the first things that turned up is a brown hyena, totally relaxed. Wow. So hopefully we'll be right in the next round. That I think something else is going to come in a little bit later, jackals, maybe more brown hyena, even a spotted hyena or 2 if we're lucky. It's incredible how much of that carcass has been eaten since we were here 2 days ago. When we sat there, and I don't know how long that thing had been dead for before, but going by, there was a bit of rumen content and activity around it, so it was probably a day or 2 old already when we saw it the first time, but look how fast it's been eaten now.
In Kahumas. With the help of a wonderful human called Tristan, we have located them. We knew they were them all morning this morning, and it was not easy when they're flat like this in the middle of a block. It's almost impossible. We have a male. Now, I haven't identified which male it is yet. We've just arrived. I imagine it'll either be Blondie or Mohawk, and I think what's happened, they were seen on the dam cam last night at 1 a.m. I think they've done a huge loop. I think they looped all the way around the property to meet up with their lady friends. Can't see any cubs at the minute. We've just arrived on the scene. So I think in a moment we may reposition, because I think there's a bit of a puddle over there of lions. So if we go around to the other side, we might actually be able to see them. It is good to see them. I haven't got a number for you all yet. I wonder if we should do that now, Davi. What do you think? Can't go this way because there's a lion roadblock, but what we can do is maybe go around so you can see them all. They put their heads back down again, which makes it very, very difficult. You can see the grooming has started. Sun's going down. Yes, I think that's exactly what we're going to do to give you all better views. We're going to reposition, but I believe Clive has some lions of his own.
All right, welcome back to And Beyond Pinda Private Game Reserve. And we have finally managed to find some lions. So exactly like Lauren said a bit earlier, these lions are also starting to groom and get a little bit more active, as you can see. But we've got this beautiful afternoon light coming through onto them at the moment. So those two that you're looking at with their heads up, oh, one just went down, are the two big females in this pride. And then the one lying just on the right-hand side is one of the youngsters, one of the young males. And then there's a couple more youngsters, and they're all getting very playful at the moment. But they've just gone down the bank on the other side there. Leon, I 100% agree. This is a really beautiful setting, especially if you have a look at the wider area that we're in here. I'll ask myself to zoom out a little bit. You'll see we're right in this little valley here. There's beautiful, these bright, like almost green-colored trees here, which are called fever trees. And the lions are lying right in the middle of it. And as Marcel pans across, you'll start seeing the sunset as well, the beautiful colors coming through in the sky. So it's turning out to be an amazing afternoon here. Look at that. Angie, you're asking how the social bonds are different. So with these lions, the pride is very strong. The females, both of these females are mothers of these cubs. There's 5 youngsters here. So they're both mothers, and they've got, obviously between them, they've got very, very good bonds. Now the interesting thing about this pride is that these 5 youngsters are all males. So it's going to be quite interesting in time to come of what these young males end up doing. They obviously, at around about 2.5 or 3 years old, they're going to be pushed out of the pride by some of the older males and females. And it'll be very interesting to see where they end up and what they end up doing over the next few years. Because those 5 will stay together now for the rest of their life. And I think it's relatively similar in wild dogs. We don't see wild dogs here, so I'm not too clued up on their social dynamics, but I know in the wild dogs there's an alpha male and an alpha female, which I guess is the first difference. Whereas here, there's a couple of dominant males. In this pride there's 2, and then the females and their cubs. So I think overall it's relatively the same, except that the alpha male and alpha female in the wild dogs are the only ones to breed, whereas here any female will breed. I hope that answers your question, though. got a bit of a fright. So that one that you can... Oh, apparently lots of people saying how gorgeous this is, and I'm so glad you're enjoying it. You can see with that one lying down that doesn't have a very full belly, but she's also not skinny or hungry. So I think they've definitely eaten maybe about a day or 2 ago. But they'll probably start looking... They'll probably start looking to maybe start hunting again tonight. I think what we're going to do, there were reports of some male lions close to here. We might actually try and see if we can find them quickly as well before it gets dark.
There are lions everywhere. Confirm Mohawk and Blondie. And lots of cubs and females. Everybody's lying in a bit of a heap, shall we say, so it's not so easy to count. But I'm really intrigued to see if the cubs are looking better. They did actually suffer, or they are suffering. I'm not sure. I haven't seen them in a long time. Maybe 6 weeks since I've seen the Nkuhumas. And the cubs were suffering from mange. Not adults, but the cubs were. And I'm really intrigued to see, because there's plenty of food around and water. I don't think this winter is going to be as harsh as it has been in the past for them. The Nkuhumas have had a tough time, shall we say. And I'm interested to see how they look. I don't see full bellies. And there's buffalo on the property on the northern side, which could mean that these lions are going to get hungry soon. Or they are hungry. Hungry but lazy at the minute. I think once that sun goes down a little bit more, they're going to get very active. Oh, this is so fantastic. I knew it. I knew they were on the property. But they've moved. They were mobile when they found. So they're obviously semi-awake, shall we say. But our 2 boys must have walked a lot last night. From what I can see, the cubs are looking good. A lot of them are still lying down, so I'm a bit hesitant to say they're all looking good. But from what I can see, they're better than the last time. Due to the water, the vegetation's still thick, which means that the buffaloes are going to be in good condition. Even zebras, even giraffes are all going to be in good condition, which means that the food source that the lions are eating is going to be very healthy. The more healthy sort of food they eat, the more vitamins they get, the more minerals they get, it's easier for them to fight the mange. And for those of you who are maybe wondering what mange is basically, well, the human version is scabies. And it's caused by a little mite, an arachnid, which goes inside the hair follicle. And it's a very highly contagious disease for animals. So, for example, once one cub starts to suffer, they all will. It spreads very rapidly. And it's not fatal for the individual, but it does weaken them, compromises the immune system. And over time, they can become very dehydrated. They're even said to develop hypothermia from mange, and of course that in itself can lead to death. Daniel, yes, absolutely. The unexpected rain we had, I think, last week with Trishala and Steve probably helped them. Rain does help flush out mange. But I don't think the rain was particularly heavy. But I really do feel our cubs are going to be okay this year. It was quite the summer. Lots of rain, lots of water still around, lots of lush green vegetation still around. And I really think our cubs are going to be fine. I think they will get rid of this mange. So, of course, I'm not going to go anywhere. My evening is complete. But you guys, off you pop to James with some elephants.
Well, I'm not sure how much they'd enjoy it at this time of the year. I think they'd probably find it quite chilly to have a bit of rain on their skin without fur or nice raincoats. The skin actually isn't particularly waterproof, believe it or not. Go ahead. Right. We're going to move from this elephant herd because Tlalamba, the leopardess, is just behind us and she's killed a scrub hare. We were looking for her. on my way, and Michelle has bumped into her now. Oh. I think it'd be quite nice to see a leopardess. I know the elephants are wonderful. Yeah, affirmative. I'm on my way. Thanks, Mish. I'll be there in 1 second. Woo! We must have driven straight past her for the 38th time. Yes, there she is on the termite mound. I drove past that termite mound twice. Hooray! Thank you, Michelle. We think it's Tlalamba anyway. Beautiful. Very, very bad afternoon for our scrub hair friends. Let's go a little bit closer. You can maybe hear the lilac-breasted roller shouting. Yes, it's Tlalamba. Yes, well, it's a 5'5" leopardess. Haven't seen her for so long. Face looks a bit different to me, but I am the worst at recognizing these animals. Yeah, I think you're all absolutely correct. It is Shadulu. All of you saying that. You can see that from her eyes. Shadulu is also a 5'5" leopardess. Shadulu. She's definitely one of my favorites. Yeah, now you can see perfectly. She's got that very kind of, what should we say? They're not round eyes, they're quite elongated. She's also got that nick out of her ear. And she's just older than Tlalamba, and a bit heavier set. Now, I'll tell you how she was found. I've spent the whole afternoon tracking her, and eventually, after using my exceptional skills, we happened upon her. That's not how it occurred at all, actually. What happened was that Michelle, who is the general manager of Djuma, responded to a crime perpetrated by the baboons, and as he covered his head in his hands at the destruction wrought by these great gangs of criminals, he spotted this leopardess drinking at the pan at Tumbeta camp at Djuma. And he hailed me and said, "Would you like to see a leopard?" And I said, "Well, I don't have anything better to do this afternoon." And so here we are. For that, we shall give Michelle supper tonight. Oh, she's lovely, isn't she? I think as far as female, let's go. This is probably my favourite. So, a classic kind of, well, very interesting thing here. I don't know why it is, and I don't know how long it's been like this, but this area where we are, around the Djuma Dam Cam and quarantine clearings, which are the clearings just outside our camp, it's where 3 leopard territories, female leopard territories overlap, and where 2 male leopard territories overlap. And so you can see Shadulu, Tlalamba, Tandi from the females in this area. You wouldn't be surprised to see any of them right where this leopard is. And you could see Hukumuri or Mulwati. You could see Tingana in the same place. So it's a good spot if you're looking for leopard cats. Now, one of you wondering why it is she isn't eating it. I don't know. Maybe like a recently cooked piece of rump steak, it needs to rest a while before you eat it. Laura, you were wondering. Perhaps she's not actually that hungry. Maybe it was a kind of opportunistic kill. She's got such a distinctive look now that I see her face. Yes, oh hi bacon, that is definitely a snack. It is not going to be like a Christmas dinner that will leave her lying on her sofa, staring at the screen in a bloated mass. It'll be like those dreadful aeroplane snacks. They give you a small packet of pretzels that just makes you hungrier. Oh, that's wonderful.
Good.
Redstone Prime, Shadula and Tlalamba are probably distant cousins, but further than that I cannot tell you. They come from different lineages to a large extent. There is some relationship, but Shadulu is not related to Tandi, certainly not closely. Way back when, I think they do share an ancestor, but they're not closely related at all.
Are you? Are you coming out to this leopard? Sorry. When I was fixing the lagoon, the lumber drank at the pan, and she's now here with a stubble chill. Are you coming out to the girls and market them, or not? Okay.
You're just waiting for another vehicle to come in. Such a nice sighting, especially with the light behind her. We're going to wait here. Lauren has now got some uber cute animals having a little grooming sesh.
Yes, they are having a grooming sesh. Aloe grooming is really important for lion dynamics. Very, very important. Oh, someone's awake. Oh, they're all waking up now. And this little cubby's really, really into this grooming session. It strengthens our bonds. I can't believe all the luck Juma's had today, actually. Shadulu on a Shadulu. Well done, James. She gets confused for Kalamba a lot, but Shadulu's much bigger than Kalamba. She's a big leopardess. Not quite as big as a lioness, of course. The size difference between the two cats is extraordinary. Lionesses are much bigger than they look, especially when they stand next to your vehicle. They're all very itchy. There's lots of itching and scratching going on. It's not a great sign. In Kahumas, I have been following you guys for days. We'll show you the males in a little bit. They're slightly off to the side here. It's not so easy to see them. But once they wake up, we'll show you them. I think the Nkuhumas have actually been around Juma for quite a few days. They're really camouflage. If Davi could just zoom out a little bit, you'll see how their tawny coats just blends into the winter scenery. Emma, sorry, I don't have any comms with you at the minute. But I have to send you from my lions across to Pinda's lions.
There, but as we said just now when we were with the Pride of Lions, as we said just now, we were going to come up to these male lions, and that is exactly what we have done. Have a look at this. So only about 4 or 5, maybe 500 meters away from where the Pride was lying is now the 2 dominant male lions of this Pride and this area. You can't see the other one. He's lying in some very long grass and in the trees at the moment, but if he gets up just now, we'll show you as well. But have a look at this one beautiful one here. So you can see he's really a male lion just in the prime of his life with how thick and dark that mane is. Oh, this is exactly how I wanted the afternoon to be. Especially because, as I was saying this morning, we've been battling for the last couple of days to find some cats. This Pride of Lions has disappeared. I don't think anyone's seen them for the last 4 or even maybe 5 days now. And another Pride, the Mountain Pride, which is kind of closer to the lodge for us. Oh, he's getting up. Having a good scratch there. The other Pride, as I say, the Mountain Pride, has also been making themselves very scarce. So it's been a bit tough, but this has made up for it twofold. Look at the size of those paws sticking up there. So sometimes when we show you the tracks in the ground of the tracks that the lions make, now you can see exactly the foot that makes the tracks. Now on that back pad of the paw that you can see sticking up in the air, I'm sure whenever you do see tracks, and the ranger explains it, you can see those three little pads at the back, those 3 lobes at the back of the pad, which straight away indicates to us that it's a cat. If it has those 3 lobes, if it's part of the dog family, or if it's a hyena, it's only got 2 lobes at the back there. But he is a very, very impressive male lion. can just start hearing everything kind of going to sleep tonight. The birds are starting to quieten down. Patricia, look at that yawn. Whoa, look at those teeth as well. Patricia, yeah, sorry, you were saying what a gorgeous boy. And he really is just, really, as I said, a male in the prime of his life. And looking at his view, I wish I could actually point it in the other direction, but looking at his view, Marcel's going to go around that way. So look at where the lion is looking. He's just got this beautiful view looking out over his territory, and he's probably been watching the sunset. Just look at that. So he really is just kind of surveying his territory at the moment. But I saw also, as soon as we arrived here, how both these males had a really, really big full belly, which you can't really see in the grass here. But I think they must have caught something last night. Striped horse, that's a very interesting question you've got there. You're asking if the males are more successful than the females at hunting. And the answer is no. They are very capable, more than capable of catching their own, even when they are by themselves. But you can imagine for a lion that has to get really, really close. They haven't got the speed like a cheetah, so they have to get very close to whatever it is they're trying to catch. And therefore they have to hide behind bushes or maybe in the long grass or behind trees and things. And with male lions, like this one being so much bigger than the females and having that big mane and lots of hair to try and keep hidden, it's quite a bit harder than a female. Whereas a female's obviously a lot smaller, a lot more sleek, and she can lie down lower, and she's much thinner, so she can see behind, she can hide behind bushes and trees. And there's normally more females in a pride than males. So it is a little bit harder for the males, but they wait until it's night time a lot of the time. And when they've got better eyesight than a lot of the other animals, and that's exactly what they wait for. And then they are very capable. And even these two brothers will help together, you know. Oh, look at him smelling the air around here. We're going to spend a bit more time with these two male lions, and we'll send you across to Shaun because he's got two leopards. So we're going from two cats to two cats.
Okay, so everybody, we lost our 16 lions somehow, but we found the two leopards. So we're back where we had the leopards this morning. So we just saw both of them, the male and the female. Now, you can't hear it. It's too soft, but she's growling. And what we just witnessed as we arrived, it looks like she wants to mate with him. So exactly where Owen has the camera now, it's slightly to the right there, Eddie. That's where we saw the male go down. So she wants to mate with him. And she was sort of rolling around and she's growling, she's walking around in front of him. But he is still unrelaxed. I think it's still a little bit too light. I can just see the ears. I'm going to try inch forward to see, because I can see some ears. So just bear with us. Keep watching the screen there. Now if we stop there. Okay, so Odie, zoom in exactly where you are. There we go, bottom left. There we go. So that is one of the leopards there. So that, I'm not sure which one that is. I think it's the female. And the male's lying down there. So this is a female that we don't know. She's very small, too small for any of the females that we know, especially in this area. But you'll see now, she's looking around for him. In the grass there. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next sort of 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, we see a little bit of copulation happening, some mating. So that, I don't know if any of you viewers have seen leopards mating before. Now, very quick affair, a couple of seconds. A little bit of growling at the end, some biting, some slapping. But that, I think, is what we're going to be in store for. Now, we are sitting here for the next 50 minutes to see what happens. Now, the tree with the carcass. Rihanna, thank you. Thank you about my good eyesight, or commenting on my eyesight. You know, you actually just learn what to look for, or what looks different and not supposed to be there. But I think, so when we arrived, remember this morning, if you were watching, as we pulled up, you saw the male in the tree, he saw us, he climbed down, he moved away. That's exactly what happened again now. So the Odie's going to show you, bang, there's the tree, there's the carcass. So the male was in the tree, saw us, we stopped, he was like, nope, jumped down the tree. But you can see it started to get quite, oh, okay, go back there, Odie. Yeah, straight, right. Yeah, there, zoom. Okay, so everyone just listen. We just heard her growling. So it sounds like she's trying to, or she's flirting with him. She's moving around and okay, yeah. Okay, so, yes. Sorry, guys. I missed that comment. I think you guys said something about getting down on Friday. Very true. Okay, so it turns out you're all saying it's feline Friday, not you're going to get down on Friday. But that works too. So it looks like, OD, I'm going to move your camera slightly. Guys, I'm not doing camera operation here. It's not OD that's bad, it's me. Okay, so she's just OD. If you go right a little bit, there she is, there she comes. Okay, so there she is. So we can just hear her growling. I think she's trying to find the male. But how crazy, yeah? We had pride of lions here. Lions at and beyond Pinder. They got that beautiful female leopard with the scrub hair at Juma. We got the leopards here. Listen. Go up, Odie, go up. More right. No, she's gone past the bush already. There. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know, can you guys hear the growling? Very, very soft growling. Yeah, it is quite windy, we do apologize for that. But that soft growling tells us that the male is there. Because as I said, she's flirting. What she's going to be doing is walking around in front of the male. So the male's lying down, and she is going to be walking around in front of him, sort of showing him her backside, growling, going in front of him, doing sort of S circles around in front of him over and over again, lying down in front of him, sort of offering herself to him. So there, looks like she's going to come back. I can see her head. She's coming back to the right-hand side of that fallen over tree, OD. And she's going to do that multiple times until... There she is. She just came past on the right. She's there somewhere. I saw her. And she's trying to entice him, trying to get him interested. And she'll be moving up and down here continuously. Now, she does seem to be a lot younger than him. So, you know, maybe this could be her first time mating. As I said, we don't know her, so I'm not sure exactly of her background, her history. But it could be her first time, and now she's being, you know, very forward, very flirtatious, very, very out there. She's a bit more to the right earlier. I saw her head into the other bushes. I can't see her now. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to try and go forward. I think we might be able to get more of a whole angle. I'm going to move, so you guys just bear with us. Don't get casting. Now she's back there. She quite confusing, but let's just go forward anyway. And let's see, because there you can see her head. I think if we stop here. Okay, so now you can see the female. That's her. So I think the male is between her and us. I don't know if you can hear that purring. Okay, but let's see. So when you can see her dipping down like that. Now watch. She might move very quickly, like left, right, left, right, left, right, very quickly. Going down, standing up, left, going down, moving right, going down. And that's what I was saying about doing it in front of the male, trying to entice him. And that would also give it away as to where he is. Because I'm pretty sure he is looking at us right now. But in this grass, it's very, very hard to see. Now, some incredible stuff happening on Feline Friday. So we're going to sit here with our 2 leopards, see what happens. In the meantime, we're going to send you across to James, who seems to have found himself a second leopard.
We are very lucky, and we have managed to come across Kalamba, who just wandered onto the dam wall, spotted by the landowner Yuri, and here she is. And she's engaging in that, well, shall we say, slightly odd leopard pastime of licking and eating buffalo dung. Delicious. And now we're going to roll. No, it's not mud. That's not mud. Emma, that is buffalo dung. Now she's having a roll in it. Now she's going to eat some. Now they do this, I think, for the bacteria that it provides. And I think they're rolling it in order to hide their scent. Gosh, I don't even know where to look. She's just listening now to the sounds of the hippo giving its lovely evening calls. So we've got our 255 females, as I said, very close to each other. Now you can see her face looks nothing like Shadulu's, does it? You think this is your spot, do you, Kalamba? I suspect your mother might have something to say about that. Move slowly back with her. Tristan, come in. She always moves with such purpose. It's never a kind of slow, cat-like wander. It's always... Trist, are you making your way here? Are you making your way here? Yeah, I'm with Kalamba at the moment. She's mobile north along the eastern side of Djuma Dam. Eastern side of the camp on a termite mound. It's that big termite mound. You'll know it well when you see it. I think Yuri may have gone back there. Isn't that sweet? Yeah, affirmative. Sorry, I'm just helping Tristan get into a sighting. More buffalo. So the buffalo were all over here today. And so the delights of buffalo dung are all around. If you are perhaps a new viewer, this leopardess is now just over 2.5 years old. And we're eagerly awaiting the day that she, well, falls pregnant and I suppose then introduces us to her babies. She's an absolute horror to try and follow when she's off-road. So I don't know how long we'll have her, especially in the fading light. But let's see. The monkeys were screaming at her. I think that's what made Yuri look this way. Oh, Jen, I'm about a 7 out of 10 happy at the moment. I'd be a 10 out of 10 happy if I'd actually managed to find a leopard, as opposed to respond to 2 of them. But I'll take it. Oh, she's chasing a duiker. Saw her, took off, won't catch it. Right, now, this could get a little bit tricky, but I think we can get through here. Oh, no, let's wait. All right, while I get through this ditch, let's go back to the lions and see what they're doing.
It's raining cats on Djuma, I have to say. And my cats are slowly waking up. Is that Amber Eyes, Davy, that's just woke up? So she's doing some of you no, the other one to the left. Oh. Oh, everybody's waking up. I'm trying to still do a count. Shall we show the sleepy boys? Yes, you may think they are logs. They are not logs. This is our avocas, Blondie and Mohawk. And I have to say, I have not seen these boys in a very long time, and their manes are dark. They're in their prime. They were born from a place nearby here called Avoca. Yes, can you believe it? In 2013. So they're about 7, right in their prime. The dominant males of this region over the Nkuhuma Pride and the Talamati Pride. And they're venturing further down south, so they may be interacting with other prides. Be it the Styx Pride, that's a possibility, and the Torchwood Pride. So they're very, very dominant. There's 3 of them normally. Dark Mane is injured. I think Davy and Steve had him not so long ago, but he tends to spend most of his time with the Talamati Pride. And we should have 9 cubs. The Nkuhumas have suffered loss, but there should still be 9, and they've done so well to keep 9. John, you're asking, why do lions
I think bite.
bite or fight? I think bite. I'm going to go with bite. They're actually not really biting one another. It's part of the grooming. So they're probably pulling out different things from the lion's skin and itching them and scratching those itchies and itching those scratchies. It's just part of the grooming. And I mentioned this earlier, but allo grooming is really, really important in the social dynamics of lions. They do it not really just for fun, but it's a bonding experience. It keeps their bonds very tight, very cohesive. And lion dynamics generally within a pride, let's not talk about the males and coalitions, are really tender and quite beautiful until there's food involved. Lions will be really aggressive when there's a feeding frenzy. And according to statistics, they do say that females within a pride, any pride of lions, are said to be on average related as just slightly more than cousins. So they're all related. It benefits them to be together. Genetics, bloodlines. They look out for one another until food comes into play. And cub mortality in these areas is said to be around 50%. But in areas like the Serengeti, the percentage is 67%. So it does differ in different areas. It's not the same across the board, and it will depend on a number of factors. But the Nguhumas have done so well. So well with the 9 cubs that they... Oh, the yawning begins. Gonna make me yawn soon. And lions can lose their cubs for so many reasons. From teething, believe it or not. It's really, really painful for little cubs, and it weakens them. So they get their milk teeth at about 3 weeks onwards, and they don't get the sort of adult teeth, the eruption of the adult teeth, till around 9 months. So teething can kill them. Disease, abandonment, even if it's accidental or not, and takeovers. There's lots of different reasons that lions lose cubs. Oh, males have got their head up. Davi, shall we say hello? Good evening, boys. How wonderful to see you. Got Mohawk in the forefront, yep. And Blondie in the back. Everybody's up. And we're not too far away from quarantine, actually. I wonder if we'll start to get some vocalizations. Wouldn't it be just great if they made a kill tonight and we had them around for the next few days so we can really work out who's here? Okay, we're going to stay with our lions. Let's hope they get on the move soon. And we're going to send you over to Dylan with his jackal.
So we've just got some black-back jackal. Actually cropped at about 10 yards from us, which for a jackal in these areas is exceptionally close. But that's just because of this beautiful little hide, all this blind that we've made out of these branches. So we are really, really well screened over here, and it's just paying off beautifully. The jackal that's on the kill, he can't smell us, and there's another one coming in as well from the left. We're just going to focus on this other. So we've got at least 3 different individual jackals now coming into this carcass. This is what it's about, eh? This is what it's about. And Chandra and I, we're just sitting dead still. The wind is in our favour, so it's coming from our right to the left. So unless that jackal that's walking towards us, unless he goes quite far to his right or left, he won't smell us. Okay, we're just going to sit and watch what these jackals do. and we'll be right back.
Okay, so now you can see we managed to move where you can see both leopards. There's the female, there's the male right next to her. You can see his head there. So now she's like, what are you saying about me? But what I'm going to do is, as soon as she walks back towards him, listen. Okay, we're going to see if you can hear the growling. So every time she walks past him, she growls, and he also snarls back at her. Because I think she's so keen, but he's not keen at the moment. So she's just to the right there. Look, she's going to go, listen. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you can hear that. So some of that is her walking past, trying to flirt. The deeper one is him. Now she will just do those continuously. Keep going, walking past them. You'll see him when the grass parts. That's where he's lying down. So he snarls over there. You can see his head right there. And if we just stay on him, see that he's turning to look at her. And as it gets darker and darker, he's becoming slightly more responsive every time. Which is good, because now I think, as I said earlier, as it gets darker, he should theoretically become more and more relaxed. You know, the cover of that relaxed that he's sleeping with the cover of darkness, you know, this is their time. So they're a lot more comfortable. No matter how quickly they disappear. I mean, you know exactly where it is, but you can't see anything. But you can just hear, if you listen, you can just hear the growling. Obviously, they're still growling now. But I think we are in for a night of activity. I mean, we still got half an hour left. And I think in that time, we should see some action happening. Either mating, or one of them coming back towards the carcass. And now that makes sense, you know, leopards like this, clearly not related. And this is one of the only times that you'll see two adult leopards together. Leopards generally solitary animals, unless the female has cubs, or they're mating. Exactly like this. And during that time, you know, the mating can take 4 or 5 days. And they obviously have to hunt during that time. That's exactly what we are witnessing right now. They hunted maybe yesterday, the day before. They have the carcass in the tree. And now they can relax a little bit. They can take a breath. You know, he's probably going to try and sleep. The mating, although it is very quick, the actual act is, as I said, a couple seconds, maybe 5 seconds, 6 seconds. But it happens very regularly. I've seen it a couple times before. And they will mate every 15, 20 minutes for 3 or 4 days. So it's a lot. It's very draining. And that's probably why he has been quite reluctant. You know, he's just tired. He's eaten a lot. He's full. He's lazy. He doesn't want to mate for the 100th time. You know, she's probably been flirting like this the entire day. Yeah, Victoria, wondering what would make a male disinterested, is she's been doing this the whole day. And I think they caught this food, what's today? Today is Friday. I think they caught this on maybe Wednesday night. So, you know, she's probably been flirting. This could be day 3 of their 5-day mating time. You know, so he's been mating with her every sort of half an hour for the last 2-3 days. I mean, he's tired. He's tired. And that's why, look, he will eventually, he obviously instinctually wants to spread his genes. He wants to, mate with these females, wants to get cubs, wants to extend his lineage, that sort of thing. So he will mate with her. Maybe he's waiting just for it later, it's cooler, till he feels more comfortable. He saves some energy. Okay, so we're gonna sit here and watch and wait and see.
This fantastic jackal viewing now. There's 2 jackals on the carcass. There's a third one that walked around straight behind where we're sitting, completely oblivious to us. The wind is still in our favour. Oh, this is amazing. Look how it's going inside there. This is just brilliant, brilliant, brilliant jackal viewing. Look, 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 look. Oh my goodness. This is incredible. It's almost like you heard that. Look at the size of that eland carcass, and this is a very, very old bull. And now most of the meat has actually been eaten off, but it gives you some idea of how big those chest cavities are. That jackal can go right inside there. Now these jackals are most likely from the same group. They are cooperative breeders, so you'll get a territorial pair and they'll tolerate the young adults in the area as well. The one that's standing on the left-hand side there that's looked up now, when that one came in, the other one was giving a whole submissive display. Unfortunately, it was just on the other side of the carcass from where, so the angle wasn't good. So this is almost certainly animals from the same clan, or should I say family group. I'm still hoping that we get another brown hyena coming out, but this light is golden. It's absolutely golden. The temperature is also plummeting now. As we're sitting here, this cold front is coming in very, very quickly. And since sitting here about 2 hours ago, the temperature's dropped about 11, 12 degrees now. Oh, that is amazing. Look at that sighting. So that's where all the good bits are. Now he's getting right into the front there. Lungs, bits of lung. This Alamangus, this is definitely a feast. This is a jackal feast of note. But I love the way they're getting right inside that carcass. Oh, and he's got blood on his mouth. You see, when they flick their tails, you'll see this flicking action every now and again. That's a warning sign. It's a sign of aggression. So even though they may know each other, there's obviously always still that competition for food, in space. So believe it or not, you're sitting on a huge carcass like that, but they're feeding in such close proximity to each other that you'll always get these kind of like little warning flicks every now and again. Oh, that light is just moving off the carcass now. But what a fantastic scene, eh? Cactus Jack has said he reckons it needs some barbecue sauce. Cactus Jack, I think there's enough sauce in that carcass to keep them going for a while, trust me. So as it gets opened up and it starts decomposing, all that blood kind of settles. And it's actually, when that hyena came in earlier, he was doing a similar thing, but he was actually lapping the blood that is now congealed on the bottom of that carcass. So there's plenty of sauce going around there. Like I say, it's not too late for a hyena still to come in, or even more jackals. And carcasses like this, you can get even things like honey badgers feeding on them. So we're just going to keep sitting here and hoping.
Wild Earth relies on support from viewers like you to carry on broadcasting our daily live shows. A small donation goes a long way in helping us on our mission to connect the world with nature. Please visit our support page to see how you can help and become part of the Wild Earth family.
Welcome back again, and as you can see, we are still sitting here with these male lions. They haven't actually moved at all. The one is still in some very long grass and quite hidden, but this other one is still lying right out in the open, and there's a lot of yawning and grooming going on, which I'm sure most of you know now mean that they're starting to get a bit more active. I did see the other one put up his head just now and start grooming as well, so I'm hoping maybe they might just get up and start moving, in which case we'll follow them, although we came up half a mountainside here to get here, so it might be a bit of a slow following. But look at that face. So this is, even though they're only about half a kilometer or so from the rest of the pride, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't know the rest of the pride is there. They've obviously been separated because the pride had relatively empty bellies, and these guys are full. So I don't think they've been together, so I actually don't think they know that their whole pride is quite close by. They were probably out on a bit of a territorial mission, going around and scent marking. These lions control another pride of females as well, so they might have been with that pride, because that pride we also haven't managed to see for a little while. But I'm sure now, with them being so close together, I'm sure they'll find each other. Jackal, you're asking the lion to give us a roar? I am with you on that one. Even myself was saying exactly the same thing just now. So we are hoping we're going to... Yeah, he is. He's winking at us. You're right. We are going to sit here for a while, and hopefully he will. And believe me, you will be the first to see it if he does. But this is so nice to see them out in the open like this. You can see they're also starting to get quite alert. Constantly listening now, looking around as well. Oh, hold on, there's something coming down the hill here. I'm just going to turn off our lights, sorry. Let's just see if I can see what this is. It looks like there's some impalas coming down the hill. So I'm not gonna shine the light right now, because I don't want to, if I shine the light on the impala, we're going to be helping the lion, and if we shine the light on the lion, we're going to be helping the impala. So I don't want to shine the light on either of them. Let's just turn off and let's just listen and see what happens. If they do, by some chance, quickly run out and catch an impala, obviously then we'll turn on the light. But for now, we don't want to help either side. But they were walking straight towards these lions, only probably about 10 meters away. So I'll be very interested to see. That's why he was looking so alert. That's why his eyes, his ears were up and he was listening, and then suddenly he turned and he looked just behind him almost. But I think I can see the impala, and I think they might have moved off. Oh no, they're still quite close. Let's see what happens. This is quite amazing to see these impalas so close to the lions, and they have no idea that they're there. I know you can't see anything right now, but just give it a bit of time. And let's see if something happens here. Now, even though these lions have got full bellies... Amy is saying it's room service. Yeah, that is a good way to look at it. Even though... Oh, what was I saying now? I forgot what I was saying. Oh, even though these lions are so full, they'll still take that opportunity. They're very, very opportunistic, and they have no idea when their next meal is going to come. Okay, we're going to sit here and see what happens here, but we're going to send you back to Shaun quickly with those leopards, all right?
Okay, so we are seeing quite a lot more activity. Quite a lot more? Is that English? Yeah. A lot more activity. Yeah, no, a lot more growling. He's being a lot more responsive. There, so you see those little 2 spots? That's her. He's just on the left. Beautiful patterns. And she's been doing this the entire time since she left us. She's been making smaller and smaller circles right around him. This is what leopard flirtation looks like. Pretty direct. You can see though, his head's up. That's his eye, that little glow in the center of the screen. There we go, that's his eye. So his head's up, he's been looking around, he's been looking back at us. Seems to be sort of following her. Whenever she moves across, you know, he watches. So he's becoming a lot more awake. Which is obviously exactly what we want. And I mean, eventually he has to give it, I mean, all of this effort that she's putting in. Eventually. I'm surprised though. You see, she's obviously quite distracted. We know what she's here for. But I'm surprised he hasn't come to the carcass. You know, because being up in the tree, obviously they can't mate in the tree with the carcass. It's a very small tree, there's not enough space for the both of them up the tree as it is. So that could be a refuge for him. That could be why he sat there during the day. Just trying to get away from her. Being in the tree. We haven't seen her in the tree. Not once yet. As usual, we've seen her up there. Only him. Most likely because if he goes up first, there's no space for her to go. He'll just sit there. Where if she's in the tree, he will happily, you know, come out to almost push her out of the tree. So I'm surprised he hasn't tried to get away by going up the tree. We might see that over the next few minutes though, because it's getting so dark. So what you're seeing there, that bright patch of light, is our infrared light. We don't actually have any spotlights on. What I'm seeing is not even close to what you're seeing. Moose, that is exactly it. It is dinner and a date. It is 100% moose. Dinner and a date. He's done well there. Oh, okay. So while we wait for the date part to happen of this dinner party, we're going to send you across to Dylan, who seems to have a hyena coming for dinner.
Unbelievable. We've got another brown hyena that has come into the kill now. And those 2 jackals are just floating around in the background. This is just fantastic. But it's wonderful to see that those jackals don't just run. They're respecting this hyena. They understand what he's capable of. But they're not running away. Like if this was a lion on a kill, they wouldn't be close by there. This is just so amazing to see, man. Yow. And this brown hyena came in just in the nick of time. This is what I was hoping for. Oh my goodness. It never ceases to amaze me and surprise me what you can find out here. And 99% of the time it's just sheer patience and just being able to sit and wait. But look how magnificent those animals are. Look at those colours. Chandra and I were saying earlier, it looks almost like a werewolf. Not that I've seen a werewolf, but if I had to see a werewolf, it would probably look like this. I think. Oh my goodness, this is just incredible sighting. Those big pointy ears. Striped Horse has asked, are jackals only scavenger rangers, or they make their own kills. Jackals are superb hunters. They've even been recorded. A group of 7 jackals was recorded taking down an adult male impala, which is pretty hardcore. But in times like this, when you've got a big food item, they've got no need to hunt. They will also eat insects, fruits, berries, things like that. They are very, 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 very adaptable, small carnivores. And lambs, things like springbuck lambs that are left unattended while the mother's out foraging. Jackals will catch and kill them, no problem. Even an individual jackal will do that. Wow, 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 wow. I'm so chuffed with this. Gee whiz. I mean, you can't enjoy this. It's impossible. You can't not enjoy this. And like I say, completely oblivious to our presence. Our distance here is about 60 yards, maybe slightly less, 50 yards. But with this nice screen of branches in front of us, it's really broken up our outline. The wind is in our favor, and this is just being even better than I imagined.
I think it's been an epic afternoon all round for everybody. I am overjoyed to be with the Nkuhumas. I really am. It's my 3rd day of tracking these cats. And they're on the move, and they're actually moving in a northerly direction towards quarantine, where all the leopard action has also been happening. I just really hope they'll stay around. Apparently there's buffalo at Galagopan. They don't look terribly full. Now, I had a good look at one of the males who was limping really badly. He's now behind us. But I do wonder if it's possibly dark mane we have after all. I had a look at some of the cubs as well. Some of them are doing really well, but there's a few of them that are still very mangy. This one in particular, look at the bum patches and the elbow patches. It's hair loss. Hair does grow back, of course. You just don't want the mange to compromise their immune system. Okay, I think this means we need to follow them. I'm just going to put my lights on now, so it's really important that I see where they are. Oh, there's another one. They're all just coming out of nowhere. And off they go. Okay, I'm just going to make sure there's no others straggling behind, and we'll try and keep up with them. I was hoping we would get some contact calling. Or not even for contact reasons, because they're all together, but for territorial reasons. Just got a little cub in front of us, Davy. Okay, let's go forward and then we'll pull off to the side because there's other vehicles who also want to have a good look at them. Oh, it's been a great day for the cats. I'm going to try and stick with my lions for now, and I believe James has caught up with his leopard.
I certainly have. We've got Shidulu there. The reason I'm lighting her up is she's about to walk through our camp, and I need to be able to see exactly where she goes, just in case, because the Juma village does have a few kids in it. It's all closed up, but we just want to make sure. Kalamba had an amazing time as the internet went down. She threaded her way through the herd of buffalo and then went up towards the north. Now, I don't want her to go in here, so I'm just going to drive down this way. There we are. This is one of the rare privileges of living out here. Because here we have, you'll be able to hear the people talking, and there's a leopard outside marking her territory. I've never seen Shadulu down this way. So it's quite interesting. We've had both of our leopardesses in a kind of, well, they're in their overlap. Don't go in there, my dear. Walking. Yeah. It's going past the garages. Auntie very wisely closed the gate. Isn't it special? I tell you, it's quite something to be able to wake up in the morning, come outside and find the track right outside, actually almost in the garage now. And there are bushbuck and scrub hares and nyala all over the place. She's now smelling Jigger, which is one of our vehicles. That's where Rusty lives. That's who I'm driving. I think she's just, oh, look who's just come out. All right, apparently we're going to go back up to Ngala. I'll probably pull into the garages here.
Seems like there's a lot of stuff happening tonight. Okay, so there you can see the male standing up. Seems to be walking away. There's a hyena on our right-hand side. I don't know if maybe that male heard the hyena, but he just very blatantly told her no, like she was right there, and then he sort of almost, she followed her, there she go more right. She's quite far on the right. There first. Oh yeah, there's one. I mean, what a crazy day. Just this afternoon has been. Oh, there's one coming close to us. I can just hear grass. It's just some crazy stuff that's happening. I mean, you got leopards in camps, you got lions and impalas, you got hyenas everywhere, you got leopards here growling, trying to mate. One doesn't want to mate. You got a hyena on our right hand side, yeah, under the tree. So Odie's going to show you there. There's the hyena. That hyena probably the same one that was there this morning. You remember, black legs, very young, very small, very similar to one this morning. So maybe he just went into the bushes and lay down and waited around there. Okay, so guys, we're extending the show a little bit just so we can see what happens. Yeah, so we got about 45 seconds left, everybody. I'm going to see, we can't see the leopard again. That's the hyena. But you see, the hyena can probably smell the leopards. I'm trying to see where they go. But what a crazy afternoon, as I was saying. I mean, everything's just happening all at the same time. And that's how the bush works. And incredible stuff. It's quiet for a little bit. Mrs. Lapwing. It is awesomeness, Mrs. Lapwing. I 100% agree with you. Okay, we're going to see if we can find those leopards again. So we've got a couple seconds left of the show. So let's hope that we can find them. But otherwise, look, they're not eating. Which most likely means Nikki will shoot down here tomorrow, see if maybe we can catch them in the tree. You see, that looks like the male there. So yeah, hopefully Nikki will come back here in the morning, maybe catch a bit more activity, see one of them in the trees. But I think from us for now, been an incredible day. Thank you all very much. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful weekend.